Hello everyone, today's OC Info episode is about Qwena Marillyon Abara. Qwena was born on 6/12/69 in the country of Wolchella on the planet Elementon. His parents were Nakwa and Jupiter Abara. This was after Nakwa had Heldry and broke up with Jake. She would end up marrying her husband Jupiter, who was a master shadow wizard. Nakwa was never able to master. One of her eyes is purplish pink. Despite being a light, Qwena would also become a shadow wizard. When he was 10, he would start taking classes at the Clara Academy of Witchcraft. Around this time he would also start learning to play the viola. Later Qwena would skip 4th grade and meet Heldry Flissa, who he didn't know was his sister. In middle school, he would meet Valoria Neilcor Helvin, and when the outland moats surrounded the school, Qwena was on the chamber offense, along with Heldry and Valoria, and for a few months, he would be one of two consuls. Near the end of the 4 years, Qwena would begin to fall in love with Valoria. He would continue to date her for 2 years, but would break up with her after seeing how competitive she could get. Around the end of middle school, he would also pick up the harp. By the time he was halfway through high school, he would finally re-engage in his witchcraft classes. Qwena would later attend Pandora Dryden University. While he was there, he would have a dream. In the dream, he saw a deer-like spirit giving a corrupted magic book to a seasonless fairy. In the dream, when he got close, the fairy bowed strongly on the E string of a violin. When woke up, he saw a large scar on his arm. He confronted his dorm mate, Sharfie. They would assure him it wasn't them. Later, when Qwena would go to his symphony class, a melody would play on violin. The notes were scratchy and piercingly high. After it was over, students were left injured. Qwena would once again have a scar and came up with 5 suspects, one being his close friend Heldry Flissa. Later at lunch, he was sitting with Sharfie, Malice, and Heldry, and noticed she was acting strange as well as covering one of her eyes. When he would go to his dorm hall, he would meet Falco. He and Qwena would discuss what happened in symphony class that day, until Heldry appeared. Qwena would ask where she was during the class. She would reply she was ill, then would proceed to leave. 4 weeks would pass and he would continue to have dreams that seemed to be warning him. During the 4 weeks, he mastered shadow magic. He had also made a new wand that also functioned as bow, allowing him to use shadow magic with his magic-bound viola. His dreams were increasing detailed until they gave him a face, Heldry's face. In the vision he had seen Heldry practicing the corrupted music with the deer spirit watching. Qwena could also see her room, then he decided to get close. When this happened, Heldry played a new melody on her violin. When Qwena woke up, his leg was broken. However, his visions and injuries weren't enough proof to have Heldry arrested. That day he would still talk to Heldry as if nothing happened. Aside from the ever-looming threat, he had been falling for Falco and they had started to date. When school ended that day, it was winter break, so Qwena had some peace mind not being on campus. Over the break, he learned what might Heldry's motive. Upon arriving home, he had told his mother about the situation, and his mother told him what happened before he was even born. On the train back to campus at the end of the break, he met up with an old friend, Valoria. On the train they talked, and Qwena became aware of her issues. Unknown to him, the universe wasn't working, which would end up getting him prophecy bound. On the first day after the break, Heldry was nowhere to be found. That night, Qwena would have a dream where the campus would become encased by a drear field. Unfortunately, that's all I've come up with for Qwena's story. Once I figure out what goes next, I will make a second part. Anyways, enjoy the music until the final reveal.